There, welcome to Inspiring Wellness. I am Julie House, and today I have a very, very special guest. My dear, dear friend, Krystie Daniels, is here with me. A couple of weeks ago, her husband was on the program, and we were talking about spiritual warfare. So that was an incredible topic. We kind of started off our new year with that topic. And today, Krystie is here to talk about another very important topic. And today we are delving into something that I feel like so many people need to hear, Krystie. We have been through obviously a pandemic. We have been through, just so many things going on in the world around us, in our churches, in our families. And we are dealing with so many unknowns here recently. And so today we are talking about pressing through pain because you and I have talked about this. You and your family have been through some seriously traumatic events over the last couple of years. Unexpected, no time to prepare for things that you guys have been through. And your story, you and I talked about this, your story for me is your family story is just a beautiful reminder of perseverance and the fact that persevering is more than just praying. I mean, you got to get up and actually do the work to persevere. It takes work to persevere. It takes dedication, and it takes not giving up. And I think that's where we're at today. And that's why I hope and pray that so many people tune in to this message. If you haven't done so yet, hop on and share this with somebody and say, you got to listen. You've got to listen. I want you to hear Krystie's story, her testimony. She's still working it out. She's still walking it out, right?
Yes.
But I need you to hear this. It will inspire you. It will encourage you. But that's our goal for this episode, is to ensure that if you're feeling like giving up, that you don't give up. And realize this: your wellness matters to God, and it matters in every area of your life. That's so important. If we're going to navigate, you and I just talked about this right before we went live. If we are going to navigate the struggles and the turmoil in this life, we have to realize that a decline in our health, when we have a choice, choosing to allow our health to decline, will only make our situation worse, right? Would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
So first, obviously, share with our audience a little bit about your wellness journey.
Well, I think like a lot of other people, it took me some time to figure out that I needed to go on a wellness journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Same.
And so I know, speaking specifically from like a weight loss and needing to do something, I joined Equip for More in July of 2020, and I just kind of busted through what I needed to do and losing weight. I lost over 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And what felt like a pretty quick period of time.
I think it was.
And I maintained that for a while.
Yeah.
And then I had let some of the weight kind of creep back on. And then I know when my cousin Amanda passed away this past September, everything just sort of went downhill from there.
Right.
And then it became more than just a weight issue and a food issue, and it really turned into just my overall health and wellness. Like, I quit doing things to take care of myself. There was a major lack of productive coping skills.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting the sleep that I needed, and I felt such a decline in really kind of who I was. I didn't want to be around people. I wasn't, laughing as much, and I just really wanted to kind of withdraw.
Yeah.
And so, and then it's been a fight. I know some of what we're going to get to sort of get back on track, not just from an eating perspective and trying to lose weight again, but just with my life in general, trying to get back to who I was, and trusting the Lord with my life,
Yeah.
So that's kind of what brought me to the place where I've been recently, where I finally was like, okay, I've got to do
I got to work
something.
on this. I got to work on this. And all of that, I feel like, that's so common to so many people. The loss of Amanda, we sort of alluded to, was sudden, unexpected, and devastating for your family. And we even said, this is obviously for another topic, but I just read an article last night that the prevalence, because it was determined that it was a heart attack, and the prevalence of heart attacks for basically no apparent reason in the age group that Amanda is in, I think it was like 29 to 44, has like skyrocketed. So we know that, this is, it's other families are dealing with this very thing, and not to mention that there were losses from family members from COVID, and we are seeing long-term health effects, and we're just seeing mental health issues that we've never seen before due to what we've lived out these past couple years. And I share this often, we were seeing record numbers of weight loss 2018, 2019, 2020. And, and then the same sort of thing happening. We deal with this trauma and it comes back on, and we've been in a struggle to figure out what we're going to do to get it back off, because we realize it's vital. It's important. Deteriorating health only deteriorates, other areas of my life. My mental health will continue to decline. My productivity will continue to decline. And so there's so many of us struggling, much like you, Krystie. If I were to ask you, in your personal opinion, why is it that we're struggling to get back on? You did it. You said, I just powered through to do what I had to do. I joined Equip for More. I realized, this is foundational to how I need to lose weight, why I need to lose weight, what I need to do. I did it, but now it's back. What is going on, do you think, with people?
Well, I have a couple thoughts about it. I think the first time when I was successful, it does come down to the foundation of this program and kind of how you present it to people, that it's so much of this is about your walk with the Lord, and that you have to put your trust and your faith in Him to really be successful at anything.
Agreed.
Or at least to be successful long term.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's only so much we can do in and of ourselves. So I think I did a better job originally of turning it over to the Lord. And I think my issue, and I think it's the issue for a lot of people, it's pride.
Yeah.
Let's not skirt around it. Let's not try to call it anything else. It's pride. We think we have it figured out. We think we can do it all on our own. I've done this. I've done that. Yeah. I take care of this. I run the household. I have my full-time job. Whatever, fill in the blank, whatever it is for you. So I can do this too. Yeah. And you just can't.
Right.
So I think, especially if you've had success and then you kind of hit a wall and maybe things, don't go the way they need to go, you go back to, well, I can do this.
Right.
So we've got to be able to take it back to the Lord and really take it to Him. And I know you hear people say that, oh, give it to God, put it in God's hands. It's more than just saying that. You really have to have yourself in a place, mentally even, to say, like, okay, I'm not going to keep fighting and struggling to figure it out.
Yes. I think that is so key, because I feel like I hear this a lot. I'll get calls, I'll get texts, I'll get emails, where folks have struggled, they had lost 30, 40, 50 pounds. It is creeping back on. And, some will say, I don't know what's going on. I'm not eating any differently. I'm not, nothing else is different. But yet the reality is I'm looking everywhere else except really back at the foot of the cross for the answers. I really am. And let's face it, we are living in a heightened time of stress. I don't want to give Satan credit or give COVID credit, but the reality is we lived through something we've never lived through before. And science tells us that when we have added stress in our bodies, it's harder to lose weight. And again, we're trying to cope without really doing it the way we did it the first time.
Right.
I mean, I know that's true for me. The first time I lost the weight, it was solely because I relied on God 100% of the time. I can remember praying on my way to get something to eat. I mean, literally, I'd be like, God, you know that I am likely to overeat. I'm a glutton. I live a gluttonous lifestyle. I will do that if you don't help me. I struggle sometimes to get back into that mindset. And I just think, well, you know how to eat, you know how much to eat, so just do it.
Right.
It doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't work. And I mean, the pride thing, I know there are things that we have to work out and that there can be some medical stuff, but at the end of the day, my pride gets me every time. My pride gets me every time. So tell us about, back last year, I felt the Lord say that there is hurting and there is pain. It was within our Equip for More family. I knew it was outside of that as well. And I really felt the Lord speaking about an event that we hosted in January called A Day of Healing. I felt him really say 2023 is the year to be set free, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. That's what our goal is. But there needs to be some healing going on. People need to be healed of some things. You came to that event, yes, right? And it was actually, we did 2 sessions and there was a break in between sessions. And then after that second session, we were really going to get bold with the Lord and take some things to the altar. Well, you had to leave because you had some family obligations. Yes. And I'll never forget this. You came up to me when we were getting ready to break and you said, I can't wait for my healing. I need it now. Yeah. I need it now. Share with us what revelation you got that day that transformed your journey.
Well, I think to fully understand kind of what my experience was there, I want everyone to understand really where I was.
Yeah. Because
I would say even for people that know me well, and I don't share a lot. I'm not super open. It's one of the things I've been working on. But even the people that are closest to me, I don't think fully understood how bad off I was.
Yeah.
The grief that I was struggling with. Sorry. From losing Amanda, and the impact that had on my day-to-day life. It was bigger than I would have expected, and I was disappointed in myself for struggling. So I was struggling, and then I was struggling with struggling, right?
Wow.
It was just
layers.
It was really bad. And one of the things I had shared with you before we started today is that at some point every day I was crying, right? And that's not something that really anybody would know, because that was happening in the shower or in the car or just when I was by myself. Yeah. I could not. It was just always there, that grief. And it, I don't think I would call it like a full-blown depression, but it was this heavy sort of cloak that I was wearing, all day, every day. It's just sort of where I was living. Mm-hmm. And that's why there was such an impact to my whole life, not just what I was eating or how I was eating, and that I was putting weight on, but just the way I was living. Yeah. I had been blessed with this wonderful promotion at work, and I was struggling there because it was like I couldn't get anything back together. Yeah. After Amanda passed away. So I knew the Day of Healing was coming up, and then we also had, in addition to that, right before that, all of this stuff with my dad, where he was diagnosed with cancer. Mm-hmm. And then that was another thing that just sort of came out of the blue. Mm-hmm. Nobody expected it. And so the first thing is I went with expectation to the day of
Yes.
healing. So I didn't really know what the day was going to look like, but I was expecting the Lord to meet me there. And then it was as you and Crystal were both talking, and the way you were sharing things, and there were different things that you both said that I was like, yes, yes, like that is where I'm living. That's the baggage that I'm carrying.
Yeah.
Or I'm letting the things that I'm dealing with become my identity.
Yeah.
And so it was during that, and I didn't know when exactly the prayer was going to happen or how it was going to go. But when I realized that was going to happen after I left,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, there's no way. There's no way I can leave without
Yeah.
getting this deliverance that I just so desperately needed.
Amen. So, what happened? What has kind of like transpired after that for you?
Well, that day, in that very moment, I know you and Crystal, some of the other ladies came up and prayed with me because, we were sending everyone on a break.
Yeah.
You guys were even supposed to get a little bit of a break, and instead I just sort of was like, I need some people to stay
Yeah.
and pray. And in that very moment, I felt the weight. I mean, I felt I was able to like breathe.
Yeah.
I felt it lift. And as I went on about that day and the next day and the next day, I just continued to feel it. I was like, okay,
Praise God.
Lord, you have really touched me. You have really helped me. That the crying every day,
Mm-hmm.
has stopped, and being able to even have a conversation about Amanda
Yeah.
and not be, a complete puddle. I'm able to do that now. Like that's not something that I could have done before. And even like that same day of the day of healing, there was something that came up later that day that just bothered me so much. It was completely separate from all of this. And I felt like just for a little bit that, I could have let all of it come back on.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home and I prayed. And I was like, no, we're not doing this. I felt it. I know the Lord touched me. I'm not going to let it go.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang on. I'm going to keep believing. And here we are.
Praise God. Praise God. You said so many things during that. I was like taking notes. But number one, I think this is so powerful, this notion of going in with expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know just in my own personal wellness journey, just on a day-to-day basis, if I go into the day expecting God to show up and help me and walk alongside me, I can't help but be successful. But it's those days, Krystie, where I'm just not sure, I'm just not sure if I can do it. I'm just not, so I think that's a key right there. And I think for me, and probably you too, when you joined Equip for More back in 2020, you expected to be successful. Yeah. And I did too. I expected that last journey that I took. I said, I don't know how, when, why, what, where. I just know that I know. So whether it's wellness, whether it's healing, whether it's deliverance, that's key. Just expecting God to show up. And basically you said, I'm not taking no for an answer. Like, I did not come here to get, feel good for a few minutes. I'm finished.
Yeah.
I came to get results. And I think God really honors that kind of faith. It's not that we know how it's going to happen. It's just that we know it's going to happen. If you were going to offer, I know there's people watching, they're struggling with healing, they're struggling with wellness, they're struggling with oppression, and they've maybe experienced some freedom in the past, but they're feeling that cloak that you felt. They're feeling that heaviness. What would you one, tell them in regards to how to get back on track? And two, how would you remind them and encourage them that their wellness is so important to their overall wellness, you know?
Well, I think as far as encouraging people to get back on track, or kind of the how, I mean, I think there are some things, well, we talked about already, about letting go of your pride,
Yeah.
and making sure that you really don't just say you're putting your trust in the Lord. You really got to put it there. And how you get to that place is maybe different for everybody. And it's just like anybody else that maybe needs help or is going through a journey. They have to be ready. Like, you have to be ready to receive and to be helped. Like, if you want to, because that's where I was for a little bit. I wanted to sit and wallow in what I was in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there wasn't anything anybody was going to say that was going to get me there. So some of it is figuring out that you're at a place where you need help. You need the Lord to help you. And then the other thing is, you got to bring people in. I was shutting everybody out, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to bring people in, and I didn't share everything with my husband, my dear sweet husband that I love so much. I did not share everything with him. And we've not talked about this explicitly, but I know he felt it. I know my kids felt it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a day where I finally said to him, I need help. And more from like a helping me be accountable,
Mm-hmm.
from like a weight loss and just healthy perspective. And we talked about some stuff about that. And then, he put together a little exercise plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he got me one of those little like stair steps, and there we are in the living room, and he's got like the music keyed up, and I'm doing my little exercises that he gave me to do. So you've got to put your trust in the Lord, and then you've got to find somebody that you can talk to, ask for help, and just kind of be there with you through the journey. And then you really do have to walk it out. You can't get discouraged. Life is what it is. It's hard. It's not going to be perfect. You have to just keep pushing and persevering. And then it's figuring out why it's important for you. So the other part of your question, if you're not, and I think you said this, if you won't do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. So for me, that's for the most part, it's my kids. I have 4 kids. 3 of them are girls. Not that my little boy isn't still important from a weight loss and a healthy perspective, but thinking especially as a woman, I don't want my girls to have to struggle with the same things that I've struggled with. So am I setting a good example for them?
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm not. When I'm on the couch eating the chips directly from the bag, I am not setting a good example for them.
No, I hear you.
So it's having that as part of your motivation. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing for me is, how can I do the Lord's will? If I want the Lord to use me, if I want to be in the Lord's will, how can I really fully do that if I'm not taking care of myself?
Right.
If I'm not, and not just from like a weight and eating perspective, but if I'm not getting enough sleep, if I'm have bad habits, if I'm watching things I shouldn't watch and listening to things I shouldn't listen to. I mean, it ends up being like a whole package that I think you have to sort of keep your eyes on the prize, and that prize being growing the kingdom, serving the Lord. If you want to do that, then that's part of where I think your motivation can come from too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking, when you were talking about doing it for somebody else, we were talking about before we came live, some of the reasons you can't give up. If you're tuning in right now, I mean, one of those is exactly what Krystie said. Look around. It's so hard sometimes to find it in and of and for ourselves. I mean, if you are in a place of hurting and struggling right now, a lot of times I think what comes over us is, I don't care about me, right? Mm-hmm. I could care less about how I look anymore. I don't care. I just don't care. Well, look around you, because there's somebody watching you. Whether it's your children, somebody at work, a loved one, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, but there is somebody that you love that is watching you. And it matters how you take care of yourself, because that's how they're going to take care of themselves. And that resonates with me so much. I too have 2 girls, and the things I did, with regard to eating as I was growing up, and the torment and the issues that I struggled with, I never want them to face. I want them to have a healthy relationship with food. I want to have a healthy relationship with food. It's something that I battle. I'll probably battle for the rest of my life, but it keeps me, it's like the thorn in my side. It keeps me close to God. It keeps me relying on him. And I'm constantly circling back going, okay, here we go again, God. I don't want to get too far around, away from you. But that would be if we're sharing with you some other reasons why you can't give up. Krystie's absolutely right. Look around. There's somebody watching you. Second, I feel like this is one of those areas where people are just like, well, it's just, if I want to get better, okay. Or if I want to improve my health, okay. No, that's not okay. It's not optional, right? It's obedience. Right?
Right. I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, the Bible says this is the temple of the Holy Spirit. We are to take care of it. This is not optional. And you said something that I definitely wanted to bring up, which is, it's not about, I think you said, being thin. It's not about being thin. It's not about a number on a scale. It's about health. It's about your health. And if you are on the verge of type 2 diabetes, you have high blood pressure, you have breathing problems, back problems, knee problems, you've got a wellness problem, and you've got an obedience problem. It's that simple. I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's that simple. But I think for me, when it gets down to it and I can say, wait, this is not an option for me, it's my being obedient to God. It at least gives me a little more motivation to do it, right? Because we all want to be obedient to God. So it's not optional. It's being obedient. Third, staying stuck in your weight loss is keeping you stuck in life. And you said that. Like, it's the whole package. Mm-hmm. It's part of what will exacerbate other problems and what will keep you from serving the Lord. And I would agree with that 110%. When I am not taking care of my body, my ministry suffers, my family suffers, my everything suffers. Everything suffers. And this is the biggest one. This, not taking care of yourself, that's Satan's playground. Think about this. When you're eating emotionally, when you're lazy, when you're sick, in all of those areas, he thrives. He thrives because that's when he gets in your head. That's when he starts the negative talk. That's when he, just begins to conjure up some things to keep you stuck. You can't give up because people are watching. It's a form of obedience. Staying stuck in your weight loss journey will keep you stuck in life. You won't be serving God to the fullest. And essentially, we're serving Satan. And I don't want to do that.
Me neither.
I don't want to do that. Krystie, your journey is so inspiring. And your journey through grief with the loss of Amanda, and also with walking through this, this diagnosis with your dad. Just being able to rely on God and just share with us. I mean, we're watching you, we're some of those people that are watching you. You show up to church all the time, still in church all the time, still praising God, still pressing on, still pushing through. And I think, especially what you shared with us today is so inspiring and so encouraging. And I hope people get that, which is, you've got to go to God expecting. Expect him to show up, and he will.
Yes.
And he will heal.
Yes.
He will heal. Praise the Lord. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I know that I was inspired, so I know you guys were inspired too. So take it from Krystie, if you feel like you've been in a season of hurting and struggling, know that you're not alone, but know that there is a way out. But you've got to get to where you need to be. And that takes getting to God, really, like Krystie said, really giving it to God. You can't just say that you're going to give it to God. You've got to really give it to God. So let's all swallow our pride and give these situations to God and get back where we need to be, which is free. We all need to be free. Thanks for tuning in. We